In this week's video, we're going to be looking at some common myths from within the campervan industry. Let's get into it.
All-terrain tyres. There's a couple myths that surround them. One of them being the road noise they create. Let's put that to the test. So we're just about to start the test. We're in a long wheelbase Sprinter with very large KO3 all-terrain tyres. The back's got nothing in it, so you should hear all the sound. We're busy recording, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have a perfectly normal conversation. So off the bat, I mean, I can go pretty quiet. There's nothing wrong. You and a partner, friend sat next to you, quite easily have a conversation. All-terrain tyres are designed to be exactly that, be able to go on all terrains. So there's a lot of road quality that comes with them. So a lot of the noise you may perceive that would come with an off-roady biased tyre is pretty much negated in this circumstance. For comparison, we're going to take these standard OEM spec tyres out and see if there's any difference. So we're in the same type of vehicle. This one has the same lift. It's on the stock tyres that come from factory. And we're just going to see what the difference is, if there is any at all. And this is driving a standard van. We haven't done anything to this yet. This is one of our upcoming projects. So this can be your almost baseline test, if you like. This is a very good comparison. So I'm just looking at the decibel meter we've got here while paying attention to the road as well. And there's really no difference in the noise inside the cabin. So we're looking at about 65 to 75. It obviously peaks when I talk. So really, the bit making the noise in here is me. Road noise myth, busted.
Myth: the MAN turning circle is terrible. We're going to put this to the test. So we're both going to step into our vehicles. I'm going to park in behind, and then we're going to put our vehicles on full lock and see where we end up to see who's got the better turn circle between the MAN TGE and the Mercedes Sprinter.
I think this has got a pretty shocking turning circle. It turns worse than a super yacht. I don't know. I think my mind says that this one's going to be worse. But then again, I don't know. There's no difference in the suspension necessarily. There's not like this one's got a raised suspension. It's just a body lift. So it is a stock suspension will be. I'm not sure, but I have a hunch that this one's going to be worse. Let me turn the wheel and we shall go find out. Right, let's go. And let's see where we end up. It's not looking good. This is bollard territory, I think. Oh no, we're going to make it inside. We're going to make it inside. So, not great, but better than I thought. I thought I was going to end up over there. So, let's mark it and see if the MAN does any better or worse. Right, so get the mark there. That's fine. So let's see if the man can do any better.
I think the MAN would have done better, but then having seen the Sprinter turn there, I was actually really surprised at how well it did. We're on full lock. Let's see if we can get to his mark. Hey, actually, there's not much on it, to be honest. I'd be very surprised. Oh no!
What's happened here, Frazer?
We're about 2 feet longer. That's a bit disappointing, I have to say. It's not that far off. It's not terrible, but yeah, it's not as good as a Sprinter.
I'm a winner, so I'm happy.
I mean, what we've done there is science.
That is absolute science.
That is science. That is starting on the exact same point. We taped off the start point. Oh no, we didn't tape off the start point, but we started in the same spot.
We started in the same spot.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, scientifically proven that the MAN does not have as good a turning circle as a Sprinter. Myth: nobody actually needs a snorkel. I think that comes from a little bit of unrealistic expectation of what the snorkel is going to do for your vehicle. I think a lot of people believe that the snorkel allows you to travel in this deeper water, and the question then is, why would you travel in this deeper water if you paid a lot of money for the conversion in the back? Because it's going to come in through the door seams and your whole van's just going to be swimming. Well, that is true. Your van would be wrecked because you've also got an awful lot of things in the engine that would get damaged in that level of water. You'd need to have breathers. Actually, in reality, the snorkel isn't really meant to be used for water. It's mostly used for dust. And we don't get an awful lot of dust in our travel in the UK. You will get it when you go off the road slightly, but it's mostly for travel in like Morocco, or if you're heading down through Africa. A lot of the roads there aren't going to be tarmacked, they're just going to be gravel roads, and a lot of them are kind of corrugated as you're driving over them. Very noisy, very bumpy, and you're not going to drive at 20 miles an hour for long sustained periods of time. In this country, when we go off-road, it's usually for a short, sharp burst, and then you're back onto some solid tarmac and an easy surface to drive on. But if you're following somebody in convoy and you're on a dirt track road, there's going to be a cloud of dust. And the cloud of dust is thickest at the bottom than it is on the top. It's much thinner when it gets up here. So if your air intake is down at the front, then you're going to be sucking all that dust in, you're going to be filling up your box. Whereas if your air intake is up at the top, then you're sucking from a much less concentrated kind of dust to air ratio, and by the time that makes it down into your box, you've missed an awful lot of those dust particles, and it's going to be an awful lot easier on your engine. Snorkel myth number 2, the air intake should be facing backwards. There isn't actually a right or wrong answer here, and different circumstances would have you facing forwards or facing backwards. So if you're travelling through an area of the country that is very, very heavy with insects, if you're driving through north of Scotland, there's clouds and clouds of mosquitoes and you're worried about the amount of insects you're going to be taking into the air intake, sure, spin it round to the back. Even if you're in very, very dusty environments, you can do that. It doesn't make that much of a difference, to be honest. The good thing about these is they come with a little Allen key adjuster, and it's just 2 little turns to the left and you can spin it to whichever way you want. You're not going to get very much water in it, even if it's raining. It's exactly the same as if you don't have a snorkel. Where the air intake comes in, you're going to get rain as well. The whole system is designed for it. There are drop-off points for the water. You're not going to have much of a problem. And when you go on the manufacturer's website, the air intake's facing forwards. So that's the way we go with it, but everybody has their own way of doing things and there's no right or wrong. Myth: all-terrain products are a waste of money and never get used. That could be said for a lot of people driving around with vehicles with all-terrain products on, but it's exactly the same, in my opinion, as people driving around with sporty alloys, a splitter and a spoiler on their car. They're not driving the Formula One. It's probably not going to make any difference to the performance of their vehicle, but it's the way that they like the car to look. And what's wrong with that? Nobody thinks that the bloke down the pub with the beer belly and the football top on is actually going to be stepping foot on the pitch that day. It's just, he's expressing an interest, likes the way that it looks. It's exactly the same with these vehicles. The thing is that these products are actually all designed for a set purpose, and they all have a utility and a reason to be put onto the vehicle. A lot of people will put them on and never actually use them for the performance that they're meant to have, but it's the same as a lot of things. It's a fashion for the vehicles. There's nothing wrong with that. If you've got the money to spend on it, why not drive a vehicle that you really enjoy? And at the end of the day, if you do want to take it off-road, then you've got the performance ability there because of these products. A lot of our customers have set adventures that they want to go on, and so we're designing and building these vehicles to allow them to do that. Whether they then go and do that or not, or whether they're up front with us and say at the start, I actually just like the way that that looks, what difference does it make? At the end of the day, if it makes the driver happy and they enjoy the vehicle, then surely that's worth the money.
4x4 is a waste of money for most people. Or is it? It only takes one time to need 4x4 and it's paid for itself. Spending money on the simplicity, it's things like being able to get out of a campsite when it's muddy, go up certain terrain, or simply go for a beach drive. It just takes you that little bit further. It gets you to places that you want to see. Another thing to take in consideration is possibly a safety aspect. Having 4 driven wheels is going to be safer on icy roads, wet and slippery roads. When you've got a fully laden vehicle, that can sometimes spell disaster if you're out of control. So there's always a safety aspect, and sometimes paying that little bit extra for a 4x4 model pays off in the end. 4x4 also opens up opportunities to go to further places, more remote places that you may want to see. Don't limit yourself from the beginning by simply having a 2-wheel drive vehicle. You end up planning or thinking that you may want to just go locally, and eventually plans change. You want to go further afield, and some of those places are only accessible with 4-wheel drive. Another thing to mention is some places will only allow 4-wheel drive vehicles to go down them. By having a rear wheel or front wheel drive only vehicle, you're actually limiting yourself to legal places you can go.
Myth: there's no point in sleeping 6 people in the van if it's only a 4-seater. That might be the way you think about it, but actually we're building 2 vans just now. This is one of them. This is actually a 5-seater, but it does have the capacity to sleep 6. The other one we've built is a 4-seater, and it also has the capacity to sleep 6. So we've got our main double bed in the back, we've got a double bed in the pop-top roof, and we've also got a rib bed which functions as a second row seat, but it also folds out to make a 3rd bed. Now the reason that you might want to do this is a couple of case points. If you have a kind of elderly family and you're on holiday and your elderly kids want to come and fly out and meet you there, they're probably not going to fly with loads of camping gear. You might be going somewhere that's too hot to camp and they all want to sleep inside with the air conditioning. You want to have that ability for them to be able to come and sleep in the van in the nice cool environment with the whole family. You might also have friends that want to join you but they don't like tent camping, and you can offer them a nicer place to stay. Now another point to look out for as well is the reason that this family here has asked for a 6th berth, even though they actually only have 2 kids, is because their kids are of a certain age where the brother and sister are not going to want to sleep in the same bed, especially in campervan beds where they're notoriously kind of tight quarters. It just means that the kids are less likely to come on holiday with you. And so you want to have that ability to give them their own space, their own zone they can go and head up and get out of the way, get out your hair. It just makes the van more usable, more comfortable, and more likely for the whole family to enjoy themselves. The myth, when it comes to insulation, the more the merrier. That's not always the case. So if you just have a little bit of insulation in the middle of a panel and none round about, then yes, that's not going to be thermally efficient. However, stuffing your panels as tight as you can with this fleece is going to make it much less efficient than it is if it's loose. So just like a duvet, it's supposed to be soft. You're meant to have air pockets in between the material, and that's what's going to keep the heat. Almost like double glazing, you're going to have cold temperature one side, medium temperature in the middle, and then the warm temperature on the inside of the van. And it's the same as this, except it's got lots and lots and lots of air pockets. So it's lots of performance separation in between the outside and the inside. As soon as you pack that really tight, you get rid of all that air, you get rid of the opportunity for the heat to kind of half itself as it goes through for the heat loss. And really you're just going to have the hot on the inside, the cold on the outside, and one way for it to travel. And all that heat is then going to contact through to the outside of the van, and it's going to dissipate a lot faster. So we do not push this tight into the cavities. We put in as far as we can into the cavities. We use sticks to push it down, get it into those areas, but we don't pack it. We like to keep it nice and loose so that it can do what it's meant to do its own job, keep the air pockets, and keep that heat from dissipating. Myth. Power banks are making fixed electrical systems obsolete. The technology that's come along with these power banks has grown and grown and grown over the last few years. When they first came out, they were a bit of a gimmick. They're now much, much better systems. In my opinion, I would say that these systems are very good for day vans, and they're very good for vans with a kind of standardized electrical system. If you're not looking for your van to do anything kind of out of the ordinary, you're just looking to go on day trips, perhaps a couple of overnight stays, then these systems will be absolutely great. Where this is going to be have a shortfall compared to a fixed electrical system is if you're going to want to stay off-grid for sustained periods of time. These products are going to be less efficient than a standard fixed electrical system if it's built to cope with what you're looking for it to do. So the B2B battery charger will charge much more efficiently off the alternator than it would do going through a standard 12-volt plug and then into this here. If you've got diesel heaters, compressors coming off of a battery bank like this, they're probably not going to like it as much. They're designed to be hardwired, fixed into an electrical system with the appropriate size fuses. What's probably likely going to happen is that this is just going to trip the fuses as soon as you plug something like that into the system. It might work for smaller units, it's probably not going to work for the bigger units. So it does have a lot of benefits and it may suit an awful lot of people. It's not overtaking the fixed system, in my opinion, for the types of builds that we do. It might be in the future that it does, but certainly for now it's not. Conclusion, it depends what your use for the van is and depends how kind of out the norm your electrical needs are. Myth, you don't need to spend when it comes to your heating system, especially when you can buy them on Amazon. In reality, this is probably a budgetary issue. If you have very little money to work on for your build and an Amazon purchase is maybe going to cost you £60 for a heating system compared to possibly £900–1,000 for a proper heating system, then yes, that will probably suffice. But if you have the cash, then you're going to get a much safer product if you buy from a reliable source. Now, we've bought a lot of these cheaper heaters in the past. I say a lot, we've done 3 and then decided never to do them again. The reason being that all 3 had some sort of fault with them. We had one that turned up missing parts. We had another one turn up and we fitted the whole system. And when we turned it on, the fan filled the cooling and it was making a really, really loud noise and nothing we could do could change that. And we had another one that when we fitted it, it just started dripping diesel everywhere. And if it's my van and I've spent a lot of time, a lot of effort and a lot of money on the whole conversion, the last thing I want to do is put my family into a van where you're mixing electrics with fuel and then turning the plug on. I want to know that that system has been tested. I want to know that the company's been building these for years and years. I want to know that millions of people have been using this system and a large part of the fault finding has been sorted out already. I wouldn't go and buy a vehicle that's just been built by somebody and they've only been doing it for maybe a year. I'd want them to iron out a lot of those issues first. And the reason they're cheap is for a reason. They're using cheap parts. They're not going to last as long. You're not going to get the warranty on them. And with these cheaper systems, you can probably replace one for a lot cheaper than you can going back to the company, back and forth, trying to get it resent or replaced and trying to get spare parts for it. That might be a bonus to some people, thinking they can just replace it whenever it fills up. I think the point to make here is the safety aspect. It might just stop working, but it might stop working and go on fire. It might give off toxic fumes when you're in your van sleeping at night. It's a real safety issue, and it's not one that I would be messing around with. Well, I hope that's debunked some myths for you. And if you disagree with any of the points we've made, then let us know in the comment section. And if you've enjoyed this video, then hit us up with a like and don't forget to subscribe. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.